Right, thanks for staying with us. As the school year ends, there are concerns over underage drinking during the upcoming year-end celebrations. The organization aware.org is calling on society to be vigilant and guard against the celebrations being overshadowed by the potential risks and consequences of irresponsible behavior. To expand on this conversation, we're joined now by Mokebe Thulo from aware.org. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika, and thank you for your time. Very strong messages coming out against the pens down celebrations. Matriculants being urged to refrain. As an organization, I mean, you're dedicated to promoting responsible drinking and reducing alcohol harm. What's your take on the warnings?
Good afternoon, Paul, and thank you so much for having us. So the misconception is that it is in fact the matrics that have the pen, or just the matrics that host these pens down parties. It's not just the matriculants, and that is a huge concern for us. It is anywhere from grade 8 upwards. We know that at least 49.2% of young people between the ages of 13 and 17 have had an alcoholic beverage before. But the message from our side is that we have an absolute zero tolerance policy when it comes to underage drinking. Young people, especially under the age of 18, should have no contact with alcohol and should certainly not be consuming it. That is our message. We believe that there are other ways of young people celebrating and having a good time. We believe that the whole of society can get involved in making sure in this vigilance to ensure that our young people are kept safe from themselves, safe within their peer groups, and that we avoid any catastrophes that could potentially happen.
Experimenting with alcohol is, of course, one of the biggest concerns with the parties or just the festive season celebrations for underage people. What are some of the most important reasons why experimenting with alcohol should be avoided?
I mean, there's a reason why there's an age limit for the consumption of alcohol, right? In South Africa, that age limit stands at 18. The reason being, and much of this is based on research that was done, whether it was many years ago, and research that continues to be done. But, playing with alcohol or experimenting with alcohol for young people just presents so many opportunities for danger. Some of the consequences of consuming alcohol can range from anything to young people even illegally getting behind the wheel, for example, and getting themselves into trouble from that point of view, so driving illegally. There are other unsafe behaviors that they may fall into. So imagine, for example, an intoxicated young person even doing something as simple as walking down the road. They are at danger of getting hit by a car, even by an absolutely innocent driver. We also know that behavior changes when people are under the influence of alcohol, particularly young people, because we know that their brains are not fully formed at the age of 18, and that is why they cannot handle alcohol consumption. We want to keep our young people safe, and we believe that one of the ways in which to do this is to completely stay clear of alcohol consumption.
So perhaps this conversation is even much broader, one which needs a collaborative effort, including parents, guardians, teachers, and so forth, to assist in creating a nurturing environment for young people, which keeps them secure. What are your thoughts around that, the collaborative effort that's needed in safeguarding young people and educating young people about the dangers of alcohol consumption?
I mean, you are absolutely right, and that is why at aware.org, the way that we look at the issues that we speak to, for example, underage drinking in this regard, we look at a whole of society approach, and we look at how we can look at certain issues and how we can address certain issues. That whole of society approach involves, as you've just said, it involves teachers, it involves peers, it involves youth leaders, it involves, for example, the tavern owners or the bar owners that potentially sell liquor to underage youth. So it is a whole of society problem that involves all of us. It is all our responsibility to ensure, once again, I will reiterate that our young people are protected, particularly in cases where they are not able to make informed decisions.
Yeah. You made one example, speaking about the reason why you think 18-year-olds themselves shouldn't be drinking. You speak about brain development. As an organization, what are your views on an 18-year-old who perhaps says, I'm of age, I can consume alcohol? What advice would you give?
So as a way, our mandate is to curb harmful behavior related to alcohol consumption. But we believe that if you are of age, you, of course, are in a position to make that decision, and it is a personal choice. But either way, it is all about responsible drinking. And the only way that you are able to consume alcohol responsibly is to know what you are doing. It's to know what you are consuming. It's to know the contents of what you're consuming. It's also to know what the effects of whatever it is that you're consuming on your body is or are. And understanding that there are various consequences depending on, for example, the amount of alcohol you consume, how often you consume this alcohol. So it's certainly, at this point, we're speaking around underage consumption, where we have absolutely zero tolerance. But we do believe that anyone of age has the individual choice to either consume or not consume alcohol freely, but it is about responsible consumption even in those cases.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for your time. Speaking to us there is Mokebe Thulo from aware.org. Speaking, of course, as the school year ends and the pens down parties get underway, of course, a word of caution for those who may be consuming alcohol, underage and 18-year-olds themselves. Now,